What is up, winning team? I will no longer be teaching in any other form than homeschooling. I am officially done. I'm officially done with all of this because enough is enough. Enough is enough with this education system. Yeah. So I'm here. I'm 2 weeks out now from finishing the exam period, right? And I'm not doing this again. When I tell you guys, first of all, my dream is to homeschool. It's actually always been my dream. It's something I've never really spoken about because I don't know, I feel like I've always felt some kind of resistance to everything that I wanted to do, probably because a lot of the things I wanted to do were godly. And even when I studied my degree, one of the main reasons I did it is I felt like chemistry is the perfect subject that if I ever decide to homeschool, it's broad enough that I can kind of figure all the rest of it out. And yeah, kind of always knew I wanted to homeschool, and I have always been pushed back on it. And then, I was working in the education system, and last year I was all obedient, and the year before, whatever. I've been very obedient. I've been teaching and or looking after children since I was 12 years old in a professional setting, i.e. schools, colleges, universities, primary, secondary, you name it. I have taught a range of subjects. I've taught all of the maths and science. I've taught, I did religious education for a little while. I've done dance, drama, all sorts of stuff, performing arts. I've done so much teaching. And I just know that the system as it is, I've done my due diligence. And I've put my shift. And the rest of the energy and the passion that I have for teaching is going to like-minded individuals who want to homeschool their children, who actually care about them. Because yeah, the education system is the ghetto, and it's let me guys paint a picture for you what my life is like right now in the middle of exam season as a teacher, right? I'm up late at night. I'm always up at 2, 3, whatever, organizing my stuff, doing PowerPoints, going through homework, preparing for sessions because students are panicking about everything, right? I'm going through my sessions. I'm dealing with kids who are literally having nosebleeds, having panic attacks because they think their whole life is defined by this stupid set of exams, which, by the way, as we've been going through all of this exam season, I've been realizing that there's a lot of mistakes and a lot of things that the government and the Department of Education. Let's not even start with the Department of Education, because you guys know that my new job is in conjunction with the Department of Education, and I've never seen something more disorganized in my life. And so parents and whatever are throwing their kids into these places, hoping that they're going to come out the other end better off, going into this stupid system where we just work as slaves to people who could not give a crap about us, who underpay us, take advantage of us, tax us over everything while they enjoy our taxes while drinking the most expensive martinis you can possibly imagine in a jacuzzi with underage girls on Epstein Island. You think I'm going to be a part of this any longer? I'm here tired. I'm here stressed. I'm here broke. No, I'm not really broke. Actually, I'm broke, technically, I guess. I'm here broke, right? But not in the Lord, okay? The Lord has an infinite bank account and the Lord always provides, okay? But I'm here broke. I'm the one who's actually investing in the children of tomorrow. I'm the one who's actually having an impact, right? And I'm the one who's here struggling, not specifically, yeah, struggling actually, let's be for real, right? With the day-to-days. And I'm grateful for this season, because if I hadn't been so uncomfortable, I wouldn't feel so strongly, right? And then the worst part of all of this for me is for the kids. The poor old kids are just showing up where they're told to be. They're told to be defined by what their teachers and whatever. I'm sick of talking to parents who talk negative and speak negative words over their children. I'm sick of it all. And I'm doing it again. Why am I doing this when I have other opportunities and things that I can do, right? And why am I doing this when I would never put my kids through this? I feel like a hypocrite. I feel like a fraud being involved in all of this. And so I'm done after this. I've told the Lord, I'm like, God, I don't care what happens after the next 2 weeks of this. I'm not doing this job ever again. I'm never working in any type of education related thing that isn't me working homeschooling the way I believe it should be done, and the way that me and the other people, the other parents who are disconnected from the system, believe it should be done. That's it. I'm done. Enough is enough. Because how am I here sitting with the poor old students? They're panicking. Doesn't matter what I say. Well, actually, it has actually helped, I think, because a lot of my students, funnily enough, now this is also why I feel kind of comfortable stepping away. They're actually feeling very comfortable and confident, my students. I can't even lie to you. They're not even stressing that much anymore. They were before the exam started, and we had to like, and that's the other thing. I spend most of my job just dealing with anxiety. It's not even like, so I was just like, you know what? Enough is enough. It finally hit me. I can't participate in this. I can't sit there and just listen to parents again acting like every single thing that's going to happen for good in their child's life is going to be on the other side of them getting a good education. And also the phrase good education. Who says this is a good education? Who says this is a good education? What good education is like today? Oh, this is what really tipped me over the edge, I think. And I needed to be tipped. I need to be tipped. And I kind of knew it was coming because I've been feeling very, very depressed this whole exam season. I've been crying because the kids are so stressed. They're so worried. Their parents are panicking. Their parents are just like, you just need to study more. You just need to study more. And I just want to punch them in the face, like when they say stuff like that. And today we were talking about one of the topics that we had to do for chemistry was flame tests, right? Because they wanted to revise flame tests. Obviously, I always ask the kids to tell me like, what topics do you want to do? Like, to like revise. Obviously I'll bring stuff to do like in the lessons, but like whatever your feelings you're struggling with, like, you know, they have systems in which they can get that information to me, you know, obviously with like their parents and stuff. And so I was doing flame test today, and it just was just another example of another time where you're asking these kids to remember that a lithium flame is red and a copper flame is blue green and a potassium flame is purple. They're just learning it off by heart. It's as good as them learning literally every capital city of the world is. It doesn't says nothing about them as a scientist, because the actual like reasoning why the metals form different colors, which they do, it's very interesting. It's actually one of my favorite practicals at university. We took nickel, the metal nickel, and we formed like 6 or 7 different colored powders, like the whole rainbow. And it was because when metals react with different things in different ways, all to do with the electrons, all things that are very much into university level chemistry, right? Like pure chemistry again, not even like biochemistry, probably pure chemistry. I don't think even biochemists would do this topic. So why have we shortened this down to a little table where you learn that lithium is red and potassium is purple and copper is for GCSE, and then if they don't get this, if they don't do it correctly, what, the whole adult population and everybody's going to treat them like they're an idiot. I want nothing to do with this education system anymore. Like, it is excruciating, the thought right now that I'm going to have to endure another 2 weeks in this godforsaken, absolutely godforsaken education system. And can I tell you guys something? I'm going to keep it very clear and very real with you guys. I've been thinking long and hard about this stuff. It's one of the reasons I've been keeping to myself. I swear down, I will not die before if I have not bulldozed this education system. I'm not going to wait for it to crash. I'm going to crash it myself. You know, I already know some women right now in my life who are like, you know, newborn moms with the babies. And I'm going to be putting out the feelers, because we're not doing this with the kids anymore. We're not doing this. I'm not going to do anything to do this. Do you guys think I give a single crap about what the worries could be about if I have a child and me being able to homeschool? I better find a freaking way. Or am I a problem solver or am I not? Because what my excuse is going to be to throw them into these illogical training camps, right? These brainwashing factories, what to say, oh, well, I can't do it because I can't afford to take time off work. I bet I would rather remove my womb. And I thought about it. I was thinking about it a lot at the end of last year. I was like, should I just remove my womb altogether? Like, because it seems like everybody's making it seem so hard to actually just find solutions for certain things. And I'm over it. I'm over it because you know why? Because why would I have a kid make the excuse to then put them somewhere that's going to destroy their soul and their hope and their belief in themselves? Why would I, as a teacher, walk into a classroom where there are kids whose parents are speaking negativity over them, who are being told they're defined by what grades they get, who are stressed? Do you guys know that for me, this is why I feel it differently, and I felt it differently this month, and actually I'm glad for May to be the freak over now, right? Sorry that I sound so angry, guys, but I've got righteous anger because somebody's got to give a freaking damn about the kids. Okay, someone's got to care, right? Every single year since I was 10 years old, because I remember it was on my birthday on a Monday that I sat my first exam, SATs exam, year 6. I was 10, turning 11, until I graduated age 21. For all of those 11 years, my whole childhood, well into adulthood, was defined on my birthday by these stupid exams every single year. Every year, the most important thing happening during my birthday was the exams. And I'm grateful for it. You know why? Because I will never do anything like that. Do you know that I tell the kids, like, I'm like, listen, guys, I'm very real with them. That's why I can't teach anymore, because at this point, I can't lie to them anymore. I can't lie to them and tell them that this piece of paper means absolutely anything about their future. I can't lie to them. I can't sit there and, like, be so understanding anymore about why they're distressed. Because I'm like, you shouldn't be distressed. And then the parents are like, oh, I'm so worried. I'm doing this. Why is it that part of my job, that my own personal business, right? Why is it that I have parents paying, oh my gosh, the other day, one of the kids whose parents is currently paying £30,000 a year. £30,000 a year per child for private education, and they still are hiring me. It's still not enough. Their kids are in school from 8:30, 8 o'clock till 4:30. They're doing everything they can possibly do, every extracurricular, every extra revision, extra tuition that you can name of, and it's still not good enough. Because it's the system. Because it's the devil, and it is the devil who is trying to steal the lives of these children, and I am sick and freaking tired of it, and I'm not doing it again. I'm not doing it. I don't care what it takes. I'm never going back into the system after that. Well, I know I don't have to, because I know how the Lord works. I know with God, like, whenever he's trying to encourage, he's trying to, what's the word? Whenever he's trying to, like, ignite the flame in me, he always allows me to get to the point of where I'm just so severely done with the situation. Like, because he knows that if he just tells me nicely, I'll be like, oh, but I feel bad. Like, no, 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 no. We're done here. We're done here. We're so unbelievably done with the education system. And I promise you guys, there's 2 things that have to happen before the day that I die. One of those, mass exodus from the education system. The other, mass freedom of children from child trafficking. Those are the 2 things I've been spending my whole time thinking about the last, like, maybe, I don't know, maybe like 9 months. And I know, like, a lot of my life, it seems weird, and it's because my life doesn't work the way as everybody else's. I don't just wake up and see the problems of the world and then go, oh, I'm just going to pretend it's not happening, or complain about it, or talk about it, and do absolutely freaking nothing, and then just complain again tomorrow and complain again the day after, and then wonder how the world is what it is, and then be a sheep and go along with everybody else. I don't do that. I fundamentally don't do that. Fundamentally, I say, okay, there's a problem. How do we solve it? And so from where I'm sitting, I don't care how I look to everybody else. You guys understand, I am so in with the Lord at this stage of my journey that I don't care what I have to lose in order to do whatever God is telling me that I need to do. I don't care. This world has nothing to offer me. You can't offer me money. You can't offer me admiration. You can't offer me dedication. You can't offer me riches, power, fame. You can't offer me nothing. This world has nothing to offer me. The only reason I'm actually okay with being here is because of the children. Because I feel like the children are so unwanted, and we're currently living in an orphan generation where a whole bunch of parents have been happy to just shove their kids off to school. And that's why a lot of us teachers are overwhelmed, because parents are like, oh, I don't know what to do with them because this is how they are at home. I was like, but you're their parents, so do you think that they give an absolute damn about what we have to say? No, they don't. And if you can't deal with them, if you can't deal with your 3 or 4 or 2 kids at home, and now all of you are saying that to those of us who are sitting with 25 to 30 to however many kids in a classroom, and if anything goes wrong, if your child gets hurt, if they don't do well, whatever, you're going to blame us. The audacity is crazy. And then you yourself thinking that it's not obvious to your children that they're unwanted. That's why they don't want to learn. Like, half the time, the reason why I don't even want to teach, it's not because I don't want to teach. I love what I do, and I'm really good at it, actually. I'm so good. I couldn't believe how ready my students were this year. Like, we're about to go into paper 2 exams coming up next, paper 2 and 3 exams coming up the next 2 weeks, right? Which are the harder ones. And I'm talking to the students, I'm like, how do you guys feel about your exams? Kind of, they're like, yeah, we feel cool about it. This is maths, chemistry, and physics that I teach. Maths, chemistry, and physics. When the hell do students feel comfortable? When the hell do students feel comfortable? You know what I'm saying? And so it's just like, I honestly think, like, I just wish that God didn't allow us to have kids, like anyone. I feel like there's a lot of people, adults who should have never had children. And I actually think that you'll be a better parent for your child if you recognize that for yourself, or recognize that you hate your having kids, or you recognize you hate your children. I actually reckon you'll be a better parent than trying to convince yourself and or others that you actually want to be there. Because it's not convincing. The kids can tell. I can tell because when I talk to the kids, they can tell. Do you know how often it is that, like, I'm working with the kid, I'm working with the children, and all it takes is, just somebody believing in them, or believing that their life has meaning or value, that there's, and I don't go into that there's a reason you're alive, because that's a bit too, I feel like personally as a teacher, that's a bit too far, because that's up to your parents. But what I will say is that, like, I really value what you have to say, and you have so many incredible skills that you have, like, and I highlight all those things, and it's like you watch somebody go from, like, having a dark cloud and, like, being sad and not listening. So many times people get upset with the behavior of children because they're like, oh, these children misbehaving because they're just some demons. Now, don't get me wrong, different kids are different. Like, some kids are very, very boisterous, a lot of energy, and really don't like to follow the rules. That's just a characteristic. A lot of those kids are going to be rich, by the way. A lot of those kids are going to be very rich, just to say, because they're very intelligent, and they are so intelligent and so tuned into their who they are, that they're not letting anybody define them and put them in any box that they're not trying to be in. They're not and that's why I have that belief I do about people who are left-handed, because there's this statistic that states that, like, left-handed people are more intelligent than right-handed people. And I honestly believe that the people who are left-handed were just already naturally more inclined to not be put into a box that they don't need to be put in, right? Because I believe there's a lot of other people out there who might be left-handed, who might be ambidextrous. It's one of the things I consider when I look at people's handwriting and stuff, and I think it's too late now because you've only been training one hand, so now you can't tell with the other. But maybe if we trained both of them and we saw, maybe the statistics would be different. So the rest of you who are listening to this video should pray that the Lord will give me the scientific research lab that I'm praying for, because these are the things I'm going to be proving to disprove some of the stuff that I think is out there with my own hypotheses, right? So no, I'm not going to throw my kids into there. I'm not going to throw my kids into in these woke things where teachers are, like, telling their kids, this is a mommy and this is a daddy. Some mommies and some daddies are like, no, you're here to teach geography. Teach the freaking geography. Teach the freaking geography and move the flip on. You don't need to tell the kids, don't need to know about your life. The children don't know about my life. I don't tell the kids about my life. Like, I tell them about my experience in education because it's helpful for them, and I tell them about, like, other things, like my own research. Like I was telling them today about the flame testing about nickel, so that they could have and I gave them more understanding than what they actually needed, because I wanted them to understand what they were actually doing. And so that's why I did it. But, like, I'm not here being like, so guys, oh my gosh, I've been talking to this guy, or guys, by the way, just to let you know, like, these are my beliefs. I'm straight, I'm a heterosexual Christian Bible. I don't do that. I'm here to teach maths, chemistry, and physics. That's all I'm here to do. And a lot of teachers aren't doing that. And then, the best part of it is, every time I ask a kid, like, a kid tells me something crazy, because the kids, you see that kids share a lot with me because they can see that I actually care. So they're always coming to me with their problems. I'm always the one who, if a kid's going through something and they decide they want to tell an adult, it's always me. If a kid's, like, stressed about something, it's always me. And they always just tell me extra details about their life and everything that they don't need to tell me, but they just feel very comfortable, which, praise Jesus, right? So sometimes these kids will be asking me these questions, and I'm like, I'll be checking for which parents came in and for what schools. The parents aren't doing nothing. It took me a very long time, literally until just recently, to accept that I'm going to be a parent. And the reason why it took me a while is because I was like, the amount of excuses I hear from other parents made me think that surely if I become a parent, I have to fail. Because every single parent, I'm not joking, every single is a stretch. A lot of parents with kids in certain situations, it's just like, oh, I've done the best that I can, but of course they are just an idiot, and of course they're just badly behaved. right? When clearly also bad behavior and things like that have always been linked to, like, I was thinking about this, I was thinking about serial killers, right? Because I like true crime as well. I'm one of the girlies, we love a bit of this little serial killer. Some of us even did a whole 5-year stint with a diagnosed psychopathic individual because we were crazy, right? But guess what? And this is true of all of the above. There is not one single time I have heard of anybody in this entire planet who turned out the way that they did for nothing. Not one time. There's not one time that we obviously as a society we selectively choose when we acknowledge that and when we don't. If it's somebody that you want to support or you want to be justified in supporting, yeah, oh my gosh, we believe this, we believe. If it's somebody that you don't want to do any of that with, oh no, we don't know how this happened, psychopaths just come out from nowhere. Did you know that I would a study once upon a time? I was telling my students about this, not in the subject of true crime. Actually, yeah. I was telling one of my students about this who wants to go into neuroscience, which I'm so loving that, because I wanted to do neuroscience for a while, but that's before I discovered quantum mechanics, quantum physics, and also before I discovered nuclear engineering. So, so she wants to go into neuroscience, and did you know that I believe it's the PET scans of both CEOs and psychopaths read the exact same? Did you know that? And this is one of those things that I say because, I always talk about if life's a game, it's play to win, and how we all get dealt certain cards, it's how we choose to play them. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. So some of these statistics are really quite fascinating because then, so how come when the psychopath is killing people and doing whatever and lacking remorse, these are actually all, and I've studied, obviously, because of reasons that I needed to, like about psychopaths and stuff. And there's like a 21 at least in the UK, there's like a 21 or 20 something set questions, and each question has to be rated up to from 1 to 5, 5 being highly extreme and 1 being low. And you're rated, and if you score a certain amount, that's how you score your psychopathy. Is that how you say it? And some of the things on there are things that are actually good if you're a CEO. So, for example, lacking remorse is one of the things that comes up for the psychopath, right? But if you're a company owner, if you're a company CEO, and you need to make a decision that's best for the company that people might not like, people might not agree with, but is actually the best for the company, and you do not lack remorse for the people that you've hurt along the way, that's not necessarily a bad thing, because it means you were the one person who had the bollocks, the big ball energy to do what needed to be done for the sake of the company. Because do you pander to the feelings of everybody there? Feelings is great. Is that going to create a successful business? No. So maybe doing the thing and not feeling remorse about it helps. You know what other thing helps? Even this whole grandiose self of, what is it called? A grandiose sense of self. People respond. It's been proven in history. I've been reading about, this is what I was thinking about when I've been reading this Mein Kampf by Adolf Hitler. It's the same story 100,000 times. Human beings trust somebody who is so confident in themselves, because the fact that they're that confident makes people want to trust in them. And that's why I'm like, I'm not saying these are good characteristics to have when they're being used wrongly, but I'm just saying that things aren't as in a straight line as we like to believe that they are. And so that's why I'm not going to just leave my kids in school. If my children turn out to be like me, with my brain as critical thinking as I am, but then also as a lover of life, like at school, school was not my number one priority by far. I was thinking about this today, about my priority list. I remember in life, I always have a priority list in my mind. I'm so organized, it's actually a joke. I always have a priority list so that when things come up, I know what thing I'm picking over the other thing. So when I was in school, when I was in secondary school in particular, my priority list was God, family. Now, this is the one I couldn't remember today. Whether it was dance, then friends, or friends, then dance. All of that was before my education. So before maths, before chemistry. So if I had to choose in a class setting when I'm with my friends, you know what I used to do in maths when I was in secondary? In like, what was it, year 7 or 8? Do you know what we used to do? So at the start of the day, when I was walking to school, I'd go to the supermarket when everything was super cheap. I'd buy a bunch of sweets. I'd put them inside my pockets in my uniform. And then in maths, I would just rush through the questions, and then me and my friends would sit and play 21 Dares for the whole lesson. When I tell you guys that I done crazy things at school, so many crazy things. There was a teacher called Miss Prince. Oh, never forget this story. It's one of my favorite stories to tell because of how it ended up, right? And this is a really cheeky one, but this is what happened, right? So we were in languages in German, and it was a non-uniform day. So I was wearing like this baseball jersey, and everybody was on their phone. We were all on our phones because a couple of the guys in the year group decided to start a page on Twitter, and it was called, like, let's say that my school was called Hogwarts. It was called Hogwarts Exposed, and so they started to tweet all this stuff about all of us in the year group. But it was one of those funny things where we all actually were kind of cool with each other, so we were all laughing about it. Anyways, we're all laughing about it. I'm sure there were some people that were upset, and which is why what happened. So anyway, as we're all texting about this and we're all laughing in languages, and there's this teacher called Miss Prince. Shout out to Miss Prince, and I'll tell you guys why I'm shouting out to her in a minute because it's actually hilarious. And she's like, "Excuse me, are you on your phone?" Like, she comes up to me on my phone, and I just popped my phone into my sleeve of my thing, and I was like, "I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I'm not on my phone." And she's like, "I've seen you on your phone." And the reason why I got so annoyed is because, like, how dare you pick me out when everybody's on their phones right now? But anyway, fair enough. Maybe I was the only one you saw, but anyway. And so she never caught me out on the phone. Everybody in the background was like, "No," because there was no way I was getting away with this, because we all knew that I was definitely just on my phone. And then, and then, and then, right? So I've gotten away with being on my phone. The lesson has gone on. And then the head of languages comes in, right? Mr. Kerins, Mr. Paul Kerins. And he comes in and she's like, "Excuse me, sir. That girl with the curly hair, she was on her phone." So they kept me back after the lesson. I was only kicked out of school twice. But not for this stuff like this, for other things. I was nearly kicked out of school. If you guys want to hear those stories, you should ask me, because I've been for a lot in school. That's what I'm saying. People think I'm like the perfect student. I'm actually not. Right? But anyway. So then there's just the three of us, me, Miss Prince, Mr. Kerins, and myself. Mr. Kerins, if you ever see this, I'm so sorry for this, but thank you for your belief in me, because he was like, "I know her, she's a good student, she would never do that." And it's true, because I wasn't always a good student for a lot of it, but I would always toe the line where I'd be like, I would laugh at the teachers' jokes, I would talk to them, I'd be really nice to them, and I would talk them out of putting me in trouble. So like, when there was one time I was supposed to get like a thing on your permanent record, and I just was like, it was in biology. I was like, "But sir, you don't really want to give me, like, you don't really want to do this." It's so stupid. So when people treat me like I was this good student, listen, do you think I can put my own child, and whatever crazy crackhead man decides to have a child with me, you think our crazy crackhead child I can give me put in public school? That can't happen. The kid will be done. They'll feel as stupid as I did, because I was always treated like I wasn't very smart. I wasn't gifted and talented, which doesn't even exist anymore. Gifted and talented. I wasn't gifted and talented, you know. My grades were okay, they weren't amazing. I didn't think I was very smart, and the teachers didn't treat me like I was. And like, I'll never forget this about school as well, right? And this is why, again, how am I going to entrust my own children, the fruit of my womb, right? Who I've had to give up sushi and wine and deli meats and just happiness and comfort and the will to live for, and throw them in these systems. How am I going to do that? How am I going to be looking ugly and puffy? And I'm joking. I actually think pregnant women, you look gorgeous. It's just me. I've already got a puffy face. So, Lord Jesus, please help me to not feel ugly. I'm so scared of feeling ugly pregnant. Like, I only have about 3 days a month every month that I feel not ugly anyway. The joys of being a woman. But I do think a lot of pregnant women are so beautiful, though. It's just a me thing. It's not a pregnancy thing, you know? But anyway. How am I going to go through all of that to then give my kids to some people that are going to break their spirits? And you know what's funny? In school, again, to do the maths and English, which is really interesting. So in English, I had a Canadian English teacher. And the thing that she said that's rang in my brain, and it's funny because the same happened with my brother, even though he's like multiple years like below me, when people would give answers in her class, she'd be like, I see where you're coming from. I see where you get that. But no. And it's like, so what's the answer? I had a predicted grade of a B. Again, I'm against predicted grades, because why are we putting a ceiling on the potential of a child in the first place? Another thing I will not be doing with my children, and I never do with children. I ask just so that I know, but I don't actually care at all about that. I think we aim for the absolute maximum. And so many times kids don't do well because, again, in this stupid system, the teachers will be like, oh, you only need a B or you only need a C, so we're only going to teach you this amount. And it's like, but what if they don't remember all of it? Teach them everything and give them the best freaking chance that they have. So anyway, I got a B. I was predicted a B in English, and I got a B in English. And then at the end, you know what my English teacher said to me? Yeah, well, I mean, like, your work was really good, but all you needed to improve was spelling, punctuation, and grammar. But you already got a B, which is your predicted grade. And I was like, do you know what's predicted in maths? A C. Do you know what I got in maths? A. I would have never been able to go on to even study chemistry if it wasn't for the fact that when I went to interview at the sixth form that I went to, they were like, oh, you're predicted a C, so how can we trust it? I just happened to be blessed to be part of the generation where we did half of our GCSE exams in year 10 and half of them in year 11. All my students right now are doing all of those exams in these 4 weeks here that are irritating the friggin' hell out of me. The only reason I was able to get into the number one sixth form in the country is because I'd already just got 97% last year in the old system, right? That's the only reason. And I was predicted a C. I was predicted even lower than English. And I got higher than English. I got a B in the first exam, A star 97% in second exam, and then an A in the final exam for maths. And you know what the difference was? My maths teacher, Miss Howe, shout out to her, was so dedicated. So what I'm saying is, we're all rolling the dice here, but then we're blaming the kids. Like, the people who are in charge aren't having a heavy impact in how they are developing and how they are able to, like, I even spoke to you guys about how seeing my own mum's research project was crazy for me. I was like, how have you written a whole research paper? If you guys want to hear about my research paper, I've got a video up. Go and check it out. It's really good. That struck me because I was like, wow, she achieved this. This is incredible. I have to do this now. She was one of the key reasons I wanted to do a research paper, because I was like, I've read her paper that she did in 1994, and I was like, in Zimbabwe, and I'm like, this is incredible. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, no, I'm done with the education system now, guys. It's done. It's done. It's done. Listen, I'm not doing this again until I'm involved in homeschooling. Sorry, guys, I keep unclipping and unclipping my bag, but it's such a cute bag. Look at it. I love this bag. In case you didn't see it properly, it says fabulous. You can't really tell. It's so cute. It's like the little gold bee on the front. Anyway, it's a bee or wasp, who cares? Anyway, so yeah, I'm not going to be throwing my kids into school. I'm not going to be throwing my kids there. I'm not going to be letting them leave. I thought I was stupid. You know, when I discovered I was intelligent being in a relationship as an adult, it was actually my ex who was like, you do not realize how intelligent you are. And I was like, what? Do you not realize? And I was like, really? And I was like, yeah. And like, over time, I was like, oh my gosh, she's right. I didn't realize that. And nowadays I sit here making these videos, and it's like every time people are always like, oh, you're so wise, you're so intelligent. I'm like, that never came from the school. You know where that came from? The Lord. And I, as a woman who will be rooted in the Lord, will be rooted in the Lord in the way that I'm going to school the kids that are mine, the kids that anybody else entrusts me to look after, and the kids that anybody else who is connected to me is looking after for themselves. And we're just working together as a team. Because I'll be damned. And guess what? I'm not participating in the system anymore. It's enough. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. Honestly, enough is enough. People need to wake the freak up and just get out of there. I'm done. I'm done, and like, I don't have time to negotiate, to hear why. No. If you want to do something, you will do it. I will be helping the children of tomorrow to thrive, because they are my hope for the future anyway. Because the adult population is degenerate and bitter, selfish, broken. Did I say bitter? Resentful, unforgiving, delusional, prideful, foolish. I'm going to focus my attention on the kids, but it won't be through the education system, because we're going to be getting rid of And on that note, if life's a game, if anybody else is interested in homeschooling, by the way, please hit me up, because I'm starting to think about the people that I know that could homeschool, and I'm starting to do some stuff. So yeah, please do contact me and let's talk, especially if you're concerned, because trust me guys, I'm a great teacher and I can help. Trust me. Let's look at homeschooling as the answer and not like some kind of thing that we can't overcome. Anyways, guys, if life's a game, let's play to win. God loves you, I love you, and I'll see you in my next one.